What's going on, guys? I know it's been a minute since my last video. Lot of good, lot of good feedback. I think to each his own, and so whoever uses the Machine Mark III, hats off to you guys. But as for me, I think I'm gonna stick with my MPCs going forward. My 4000 and my 2000 XL. I'm really not in the market for a new MPC, so I'm glad y'all chimed in on y'all feedback. But today, I want to talk about the Roland XV-3080 and why I went and got another one, or got it back, I should say. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, before we get into anything, it's a couple house cleaning items. As always, go ahead and hit the bell notification so you can be informed when I post any new content on this page. Next, go ahead and hit that like button in case you like this kind of content. And as always, subscribe to the channel so you can be in the know of when I put these videos out there. All right, let's get into it. The Roland XV-3080 is a synthesizer module that I've had for a long time. And then when I went the software route, I sold it to my production partner who I used to produce with. Basically, the gist of the story is we started together, we produced a lot of songs together, and then I went the software route while he was kind of still using hardware because I saw the trend the music was going. And fast forward all these years, we both went the software route. Then I came back to the hardware route and he's still on the software route. So I went back to my production partner, was like, let me get that. It's actually plugged up in my rack right now, so I don't have it right here to show y'all. But the reason I got it back is because, again, if you've been following me, if you've been listening to some of my videos, I told y'all a couple years ago, I started this trend for my own music production journey of going back to hardware to primarily make music. I had put 4 cards in this thing already, so it already came loaded with 4 cards. It can only take 6, so I only got 2 more slots to fill in cards, right? It's not that I didn't like software, it's just I'm a sound guy, and so certain elements of my production just wasn't sounding right to me in terms of using soft synths and other software instruments. When I got it back, I immediately started going through the sounds, and I found a lot of my favorite sounds that I used to use back in the day. Difference is nowadays, because I got an outboard mixer, if you follow the other video, I can run that sound through that mixer, tweak it. The XV-3080 has some really good effects that you can put on the sounds before you even put it into the software. And from an analog perspective, it's a fatter sound than the software synths I was using. I just chose to use what I was already natural and comfortable with using. Now, you can achieve great sound with a couple plugins or anything like that if you know what you're doing. I enjoy using the XV-3080. I've already been using it on a ton of tracks that I've been making, and you know, one of the another reasons that I picked it up is because it has a little bit of nostalgia for me. It's the device that I used on a lot of records that made me a lot of money, some award nominations and all that other stuff. So it does have a sentimental value to me. But in terms of sound, now that I'm running it through what I'm running it through, I really enjoy it more, because when you're young and you're using something, you may not understand all the parameters that go into it, and you might not even understand everything about that device and what it is and how it's used. You just know as a young music producer, oh, that's a dope sound, I want to use that sound, or I like them strings, or I like that brass. But when you start going in there and tweaking and messing with the LFOs and the octave curves and all that other kind of stuff and adding effects in the unit itself before you even reach software, and you can pan all kinds of things, and then you start making the music and you listening, you like, oh man, this sounds really good. And so what you really are hoping is to duplicate what you're making on the outside, having that same sound replicate inside of a DAW. And for me personally, it just was a hard thing. It was a really hard thing, I'm not gonna lie. But now I'm in a sweet spot. I'm in my comfortable zone. I have my hardware devices of choice. I got 4 pieces of outboard gear that I like to use when I'm making music, and there are still some software instruments that I do use in my music production. But the XV-3080 is one of those instruments that I just haven't found a valuable, suitable complement for on the software side. I've used Omnisphere, there's Contact and all the synthesizers you can put in that. There's a range of other software synthesizers. I just personally haven't found anything that's better for me and the type of music that I make other than the XV-3080. I've used the JV-1080, I've used the XV-5080, and those units are great too, and along with the XV-3080. But that series of synth modules that Roland was making during that time, they like second to none. Like, it's not a lot of hardware rack synth modules that's better than that line, So including the Yamaha Motif series, like that Motif series and that XV and JV series of synth modules. That's why the people that have them, like me, ain't never getting rid of them, because they just got that sound. Like, you put the right chords in there, you can make music for days. Now, I will tell you, this is a very cheap unit, so if you're in the market to pick up one, you can go to Reverb, eBay, sites like that. These units are very cheap. I am personally a hardware guy. I have to be comfortable with the track that I'm making or anything that I'm producing, even if it's playing keys or whatever it is, before it even gets to the computer. I don't want to use the computer to try to enhance something that don't sound too good. I feel like if I have to help it that much, then it wasn't that good to begin with. That's just the producer in me. The audience and the people, the music purchasers, I understand. They don't care nothing about that. But as music creatives and music makers, like, we should. However, if you are following music production trends, you will see that a lot of music producers, whether it's one item, two items, or their entire studio, a lot of them are going back to using external hardware devices for production. I don't know why that trend is what it is, but I can only suspect a lot of people are tired of, one, subscriptions, and two, there's something to this hardware thing that a lot of us older guys, as y'all call us, talk about. A lot of us that started music production in the early 90s, late 90s, or mid 90s, late 90s and early 2000s come from a hardware environment. So that's why I kind of believe why a lot of people are switching, because they want to see what it's all about, right? If it's really that much big of a difference. And I'll be honest, I'll tell you that some items, nah, it's not really that big of a difference. But other items, is a huge difference. That's all I got. I just wanted to let y'all in on that. I haven't been making videos for a minute. Kids are back in school now, so you'll see a lot of new content coming from me. But I did want to let y'all know that in this time, that since my last video, since the Machine Mark III video, I've picked up some hardware devices that I'll be talking about on this channel. And I just want to get y'all opinion on what y'all think. Do y'all use external gear at all? Any sound modules, any other sound module other than a Roland one? Or y'all what are y'all using for sound? I guess I should ask that. Do you have any other kind of instrument that you're using with your software that's not a software device? So let me know down in the comments about what y'all using, because I want to have a dialogue. I want to know what y'all using. Because really what it comes down to is the music. People always say the gear doesn't matter. That's a different conversation for a different time and a different video I make, because I'll push back on that a lot. I do think the gear matters to a degree depending on what type of music you're making. So until next time, holla back at your boy.